All right. I got it. We're recording this. This isn't working. Great. All right. That ain't working. All right, we're stuck here. We'll just look at this graph all day. There we go. We prayed. All right, from the feedback form, could someone tell me what reserve requirements are? All right, so if you deposit 1,000 and the reserve ratio is 10%, I gotta save 100, right? Now, when the Fed buys bonds, the Fed does not put money in demand deposits. The only thing that changed reserve requirements is demand deposits. I'm going to talk about open market operations a little, just to review in a minute. Could someone tell me the difference between fiscal and monetary policy? Sure, Ryan. That hand halfway came up. So.
Yeah, the fiscal policies are either taxes or government spending. Monetary policies, open market spending.
Okay, it's open market operations, reserve requirements and discount. Right. Okay. All right. Shifters of money demanded. Thinking about my pocket.
Oh.
Got Chris. Income. Not income.
Money.
Yeah, do I need more or less money in my pocket? And price level is the one they talk the most about. Because if price levels go up, I need more money in my pocket. Okay. Credit cards decreased MD. All right, shifters of MS. Ben. Ron. Discount. Okay, those are the three shifters. All right, let's go back here. All right, Peter, what's the interest rate?
The interest rate is how much you're charged for like.
Right. Okay, so it's how much you charge for a loan or how much you make if you lend. T, if interest rates go down, what happens to business investment?
Goes up.
If investment goes up, Luke, what happens to aggregate demand?
Goes up.
Just right, yes. Okay, great. All right, any questions on any of these?
What's the reserve requirement?
That's the percentage a bank has to hold
Oh, yeah.
for demand deposits. Okay? All right, so, tomorrow review before and after school, for 20 minutes. If you're not understanding this monetary policy, you should come. All right? I'm gonna talk about it again tomorrow. I'm gonna talk again different about it Thursday, but it gets confusing and it doesn't get easier. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, we're gonna do a quiz on monetary policy Wednesday. So I'll do a review Tuesday night at 7:45. I'll do a review before school at 7:45. I made the notes due to post by 11:59 Wednesday night on savings and investment. And then please bring the notes in Thursday for discussion. Now, when I'm looking at the notes, like, when you're uploading them, and we haven't talked about them in class, like, some of you don't even try. Like, I get if you graph wrong, I get on the FRQ if you make mistakes, I don't get nothing. Like, that's, you have a book. You have the internet, I mean, you have a lot of things at your disposal to figure out how to try to at least get something done. And, okay, so we'll do that. Thursday, the AP review before and after school. If you come, I'll give you 10 out of 10. And then the graphing quiz Friday. The graphing quiz is gonna be on these graphs. If you look under the assignment page, under description, I put the graphs down. They're also posted on the tile. Monopoly making money side by side, money supply graph, LRAS, SRS, AD, excise tax, and price ceiling. So we got 2 new ones, right? This and this, and 4 old ones. They're just stretching. All right. Yes, I'll get back to the table. Okay. Okay. All right. We went over this, just a quick review. The discount rate is the interest rate that the Fed charges commercial banks. I just noticed over the weekend, a lot of people forgot a lot of things. So I'm just doing a quick review. All right, if the Fed wants to increase the money supply, they lower the interest rates. Banks borrow more from the Fed and then lend out more. Okay, so if we want to increase money supply, we're gonna decrease the discount rate. That's called the easy money policy. If we want to decrease the money supply, the Fed will increase interest rates. Okay, now lately interest rates are going up because, I mean, if you follow it all, we're having some sort of inflation and the Fed's trying to get inflation under control. So that'd be AD left. You know, you're always balancing inflation with, you know, economic growth. So president gets a lot of credit or discredit for the economy. And really the Fed has a lot to do with it, which really isn't the president. So. Okay. All right, open market operations is when the Fed buys or sells government securities. All right, bonds and securities, same thing. Buy, boom. What do I mean by that? If the Fed's buying bonds, what are they giving the banks for the bonds? Money. So the money supply increases, interest rates go down, investment goes up, aggregate demand shifts right. All right. Now, out of all the, in a limited reserve system, which is what we're studying now, this is the most widely used. All right. Then, if the Fed sells bonds, and if Peter's the bank and I'm selling him a bond, he, the bank, is giving me the Fed money. I'm sucking the money out. So I'm decreasing the money supply, interest rates up, investment down, aggregate demand to the left. Okay. All right. So buy, boom. So I want to boom the economy when I have a recessionary gap. Sell, suck. I want to suck the money out when I have an inflationary gap. All right. Just over that quick review. Does anyone have any questions on anything with Ron? Is there a requirement of the market operations system? I put something at the end. Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
You go back for a second.
There? About today, Peter?
We have a rules seminar after SGA. Pretty interesting.
Don't cheat.
Yeah, that's.
That pro golfer cheated. He moved his ball. Yeah.
What was that? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
You see that?
What's his name? He won, I think. Who won the, no, that wasn't.
Was it recently?
I was.
No, it was,
No, Patrick Reed, I was.
I know Reed did it a while ago.
no, it was just recently. Ask Forrester. He'll know.
Oh, yeah. He'll
Not only, this is crazy. I didn't even realize you did that on like all college basketball games.
College game?
But one of their players was involved in some sort of illegal gambling. All right, FanDuels, I'm telling you. I'll be dead. But you just remember that I said that gambling addiction is going to become the #1 problem in the United States. The federal funds rate is the interest rate that banks charge one another for one-day loans. I'll let you jot this down and then I'll explain to you how and why that happens. Luke, it's a full week of school. We haven't had one of those in about a month. All right. So it's the end of the day and Nathan is the banker and he realizes he loaned out too much money and he doesn't have enough in reserve requirements. Now he could do one or two things. He could call the Fed up and say, I need a day loan. But that's like going to your parents and saying, I gambled too much money because you lend me. Yeah, you look bad. Or he could call Peter up, another banker, and say, hey, Peter, I need a loan till tomorrow. And Peter says, of course. And he gives it to him and he charges him the federal fund rate. All right, that's bank to bank. Now, could Peter charge more than the discount rate? No, because then Nathan's just going to borrow from the Fed at the discount rate. So usually the federal funds rate is either the discount rate or maybe a tad lower. Okay, so that's it. Why is it called the federal funds rate? Just to confuse you. But it's bank to bank. Aiden, it's going to be on your test. Are a lot of guys going to get it wrong? Yes, because they're not going to remember. Don't. So that all you need to know is the discount rate, the interest rate, and the federal funds rate, they all move in the same direction. Okay, they're all moving in the same direction. Okay. All right. Can you-
The discount rate and what's the other one?
Federal funds discount rate and interest rate. Can you take out a board and graph this, please? Right. More or less. And I'm here. Who's making more? And that loan, so here, we're going to more or less work. Oh, it's gonna be more lots of them.
No, because we're starting there, we can draw the.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. No, nothing yet. Here, unemployment's higher. That's the employment line, right? Good, good, good. Good.
Yeah, what's up? What's good?
Unemployment. Right? They want to.
I'm in on a not Friday, get the penny board.
Could you? Could you fix that? All right. All right, some of you struggled, it's an inflationary gap. Okay, now, just remember, real GDP, employment, and income are all going the same direction. So the actual employment rate is lower. Unemployment rate is lower. So more people are employed at YF, the unemployment rate is lower. Okay? So that is something, I think it was in the homework, a lot of guys were on the other side. All right. Any questions on that? Okay. Tim, to fix this, what monetary policy might the Fed use?
Thinking increase discount rate.
Okay, if I increase discount rate, money supply will do what then? Increase or decrease? Yes, money supply will decrease. Peter, if money supply decreases, what's gonna happen to interest rates?
Interest rates will increase.
Increase. Matthew, if interest rates increase, what happens to business investment?
Goes down.
And AD shifts left, and we're back to where we started. Now, if we raise the discount rate, it said what could show the impact on the money supply graph. There would be the impact on the money supply, right? We're shifting left, like you guys said, interest rates up. Decrease in investment, decrease in aggregate demand. Okay, any questions on that? Sure, who's talking? Oh, I'm gonna kind of tomorrow show you, it's not a side by side, but it's like how you could put the graphs together. So you're not even thinking of these, like they just, so yes. Okay. All right, can you talk to your partner, and go over these terms? I'll give you like 2 or 3 minutes. Go. Okay, anything up there you and your partner would need more, Chris? All right, M1 is the most liquid. Chris, I think, can I spend it in a store? Cash, yes. Checking account, yes. Savings account, yes, because I have a debit card. So those 3 are M1. Now, traveler's checks, I don't know, does anyone even use traveler's checks? But that'd be M1 too. M2 is everything in M1. And then what I call like time deposits or certificates of deposit, whereas Matthew knows he's not gonna touch his money for 6 months. And he puts it in a time deposit and the bank holds it for 6 months and gives him a little extra interest. Anything else? Yes.
Medium exchange versus medium account.
Yeah, you go to the Sage to buy a product. They give you the product, you give them money. That's using money as medium of exchange. When you ask how much is that slice of pizza, and they say $3, that's unit of account, putting a value on a product. Anything? Yes, sir.
Credit for maximum.
MU of X over price of X equals MU of Y over price of Y. I want you to know credit cards are not money. They're not M1, they're not M2, they're not money, they're just a loan. And if you don't pay them back, a pretty expensive one. Okay, is that it? All right. All right, so we got bank balance sheets. All right, demand deposits, money deposit in a commercial bank, and a check. Now, Here's the thing I want you to realize, the Fed does not put money in demand deposits. They do not have checking accounts. Okay, demand deposits only change when citizens either put money in or take money out. Required reserves only change if demand deposits change. That's the percent the banks must hold. So. Okay, so if Ruth puts $1,000 in the bank, the reserve ratio is 10%. $100 the bank holds is required reserves. Again, that only changes if demand deposits change. Excess is deposit 1,000, 100 is required, 900 is excess. The bank can buy bonds with it, it could loan it out. It could go to FanDuels and make some bets, whatever it was.
The bank's allowed to do that.
Might be considered a responsible bank.
Business expense.
All right. It's FanDuels. A regular bank on a balance sheet is liability and net worth. It's kind of like a regular bank. Liabilities have to equal assets. We'll look at a couple of balance sheets today and see how that goes. Okay. Are demand deposits in a bank an asset or a liability? Okay.
Liability.
Okay, why?
But like an asset is like a physical.
No, all right, tell me why it's a liability to the bank. It is a liability to the bank.
I know it's on assets though.
All right, it's
It's like money they owe it and owe it to another deposit.
right. So for the bank, it's a liability because the bank owes me $1,000. To me, it's an asset. Okay, because I have that $1,000, like, you know, so the bank owes, it's a liability. But it's an asset for the depositor because the bank owes the deposit. Okay, assets is anything you own that has value. So it could be money. Okay. All right, so here is, and I don't know, did I put this one in or not? Here is a balance sheet. The first thing is assets always got to equal liability. 10,000 equals 10,000. Owner's equity. I started the bank. I put 5,000 in. The bank or the company owes me 5,000. That's all owner's equity is. Now, we just put required here reserves. The way I'm going to find out what the reserve ratio is I'm going to take required reserves over demand deposits. So that's what, 500 over 5,000. And that's going to be 0.1, and that's going to give me my reserve ratio. Okay. Does anyone remember how to find out the money multiplier? One over reserve requirement. So 1 over 0.1 here would be 10. Okay. All right, so I got bonds. Now loans, this is money already loaned out. Okay, so people owe the bank 8,000. That's why it's an asset. Treasury bonds an asset because the government owes them 1,500. All right. Okay, let's look. This one I know is, next one's not in your notes. I wanted to just do it together. So let's look at what this looks like here. Okay. All right. Carlos, the first thing I want to ask you is, what is the reserve ratio for this bank?
0.1.
0.1, okay. So the reserve ratio is 0.1, and I'm just gonna put the money multiplier down as 10, because we just did that. Okay. BK, if Bob deposits 1,000 into the bank, what's it gonna change on the right side? Huh? Okay. So you change owner's equity, is Bob the owner? No, he's not the owner. He's just like a regular guy. So where's it gonna go?
It's gonna go into assets. No, liabilities.
So which one?
Owner's equity.
No, he's not the owner. He's just like you.
Oh, I thought the owner was the one like, oh no, the bank has it at that point. So
Yeah.
demand deposits.
Demand deposit. So it's gonna go from 20 to 21,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Luke, how much of that 1,000 does the bank have to hold? So that's gonna change required reserves from 2,000 to 2,100. Okay? Vince, how much now extra do I have as the bank? I put 100 in required reserves. He deposited 1,000. Am I missing the joke? I think you're overthinking. So, all right, Vince, I put 1,000 in the bank. 100 the bank has to hold. How much extra does the bank now have?
100.
Huh? No, they gotta hold 100 of the 1,000. How much extra besides that 100 do they have?
900.
900. All right, that goes into excess. Okay. All right, so what is the reserve requirement? It was 0.1. Now. I'm Bob. I have $1,000 right now. Is that M1? Peter's the bank. I deposited in Peter's bank. Is that M1?
Yes.
Yes. It's savings, checking, and money. So initially, what happens to the money supply? Stays the same, right? Ethan? You could try.
I was thinking it goes down and then the bank gets up.
Not, okay, but I have 1,000.
It stays the same.
It stays the same. Now, how much is in required reserves? We did that. How much is in excess? We did that. Now, how much more? So originally the bank could lend out 3,000. How much more could the bank now lend out? Keep it 900 more. What is the maximum change in the money supply from this deposit? What? 9,000, right? I take the 900 times the multiplier. Okay. All right. Ethan, are you not sure?
No, yeah, 1/0.1 times the.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Everyone's good? Chris?
Were the assets not full liabilities anymore? Or just-
No, that, they should all equal, right? Whatever we did here. This is 6, 11, 26, 21 and 5, 26. Right? We increased that by 1,000, we increased that by 1,000. Okay? All right. I think this next one's in your notes. Let's try to do that. I'll give you a couple of minutes. See, could you do that one on your own? Is this in your notes, the Fed?
Yeah, next page.
Okay.
Please help me.
Okay, we just.
That's giving the bank $1,000.
So the thing is, yeah.
Just add like, it adds to the man deposit.
Oh, wait, it's a loan. Percentage, what the bank is loaded.
The bank is lending to the Fed.
So then it goes into.
So then how do you balance?
With a bank. You, I think it's just $1,000.
I think it just goes to the man deposit. But then where is it going?
Oh, wait, it's.
This is no, right, so you did, okay.
Yeah. Where's the balance?
Right? How much?
How does it add to the loan and then subtract my balance? It's.
Right.
So the required reserves are 21.
No,
What do you say now? The required reserve is not. Yeah.
no, because when the Fed buys the bond, it doesn't go into demand deposit.
Does it go into a loan?
No,
Bond?
We'll go-
Okay. Bond goes down by $1.
correct.
That's what I said. I didn't say. That's true, that's it.
All right,
I didn't say anything.
all right, Tim G. First, Tim, could you give me the reserve requirement?
Wait, there was a part.
Yeah, the ratio.
2,000 over 20,000.
So that's 0.1, right? So we're back to here, right? 0.1 and 10. All right. Tim, if the Fed's buying $1,000 bond, the bank's selling $1,000 bond, right?
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen to bonds? So I'm gonna cross this out and make it 4,000. All right, now, Tim, you're the bank. What did I give you for that bond?
$1,000, yeah.
All right, so where am I gonna put that?
Under equity, or no? Wait, assets.
No, huh?
No, it's under assets, so
Yeah,
under required reserves, I guess, or excess reserves.
excess. The only way required reserves change, Tim, is if demand deposits change. Okay? Now. How much is the required reserves? Unchanged, right? 2,000. How much is excess? Tim said 4,000. How much more can the bank initially lend out? 1,000, right? The extra 1,000. The maximum change in the money supply, I take the 1,000 times the multiplier and get 10,000. Now notice, when Bob put 1,000 in the bank, how much did the money supply increase? 9,000, because you had to take out an initial required reserve. So you only had like 900 going around. Here, you get 10,000, okay? All right, anytime they ask you a maximum change in demand deposits, it's whatever the initial, whatever was put in, either it's the deposit or the bond buy times the multiplier. So this is gonna be 10,000 also. Now. What's the maximum change in the required reserves for the whole system?
1,000.
You're saying 1,000? Alex, did you have your hand up? Okay, all right. So how much did demand deposits increase in the whole system? 10,000.
No,
If demand deposits increase 10,000, how much do I have to take out? 10%, right? So 1,000 will increase in the whole system. This bank isn't increasing, but as the money rolls through the system, it's gonna go on there. All right, any questions? Yes,
Why is the maximum change in demand deposits?
because if you go through as the money multiplier works, each bank is gonna increase by 1,000. Like, I'm gonna take my 1,000 and put it in your bank, and it's gonna just, that's how the multiplier works.
Why excess business?
Because the bank gave you 1,000 for your bond, and you didn't have to put any in required reserves. Okay? All right, we'll do more of these tomorrow. You have one of those sheets, fill them out, so I know what to go over extra. Have a great day. Aiden, was it starting to make a little more sense?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do more practice.
Like that was more on the 8%.